Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would just give you guys a little bit of a skin update. So it has been about 6 weeks since I went to my dermatology appointment, and it's been about 4.5 weeks since I started my treatment. If anybody hasn't watched any of my videos before, I suffer from really quite bad eczema, and I have done for my whole life. And finally we managed to get an appointment with a dermatologist in which she put me on a kind of 4-week kind of treatment to see if it would make my skin any better, and it really has. I'm really happy with what's happened. I'm going to pop in some before and after photos. So my skin beforehand was very red. It was quite swollen as well, especially around my wrists and around my ankles. I would lose quite a lot of mobility. And now it is very clear. It's looking quite pale. I mean, I'm quite pale anyway. So yeah, it's a massive difference that's happened, and I wanted to explain what treatment I did and how it all worked. Along with the kind of immediate treatment that the dermatologist gave me, she also has asked me if I can book myself in to get a patch test and also to get some light therapy. That's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take a good few months, maybe about a year or so, sadly, before I can get anything to do with that. But I'm on waiting lists, which is the best place for me to be just now. She told me to do some skin wraps for about 4 weeks, and to see if it would make kind of any difference to my skin. She recommended that I do these skin wraps every night for 4 weeks, and then progress after that to doing it maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, just to kind of keep on top of my skin as much as I can. What I was asked to do was to go for a bath every evening, and after I come out of the bath apply 3 different creams and then put a zinc infused bandage over the top of them. So the first cream that I was asked to use was the Yumo Wet Cream. I've used this before. I had it in ointment form, but luckily we managed to get it in a cream form this time. So I have to pop this on the affected areas. So for instance, for me it would be like the kind of parts, like the kind of creases in my elbows, round about my wrists, maybe like kind of up here a little bit as well. That was somewhere that I got eczema quite bad as well, along with kind of different patches on my legs as well. So you have to pop this solely on affected areas, and really thin scraping. You've not to use a lot of this at all. Once you put it on, you have to leave it for a couple of minutes and let it soak into the skin. Once you put your Yumo Wet Cream on and left it for a couple of minutes, you then pop a very generous layer of Diprobase on. I love Diprobase. It's something that I've used for years. I've spoken about it before in multiple videos. It's what works for me, and it's really consistent. My body hasn't figured out a way to make this not work anymore, which is something that it often does with other treatments. So yeah, stick to what's good for you. Don't try and change it up just because somebody else is doing it. Everybody's body likes different things, so you need to listen to your own body and see what it likes and dislikes, because that'll help you get better in the long run. So you apply a very generous layer of Diprobase over the top, over your arms and legs, or your affected areas, and again leave it on for a good few minutes for it to soak in. I think Diprobase takes a lot longer to soak in than your kind of steroid creams. Obviously you're putting a much larger volume of Diprobase on than you are your kind of steroids, so it does take a little bit of time. So this process can be quite lengthy, it can be quite long, but if you want these results and you want to make your skin a lot better, it is worth taking the time to do that. So once you put your Diprobase on and left it for a wee while to get better, you then apply another cream on at the end. Once you've applied your Diprobase and left it for quite a while, you then apply your final cream over the top again of your affected areas. So I use the Mometasone Fury, I've learned how to say it, and again put it on your affected areas. For me, the kind of creases in my elbows, round about my wrists, and my ankles as well, and again leave it on for a little bit for it to soak in as much as it can. This is quite a thick cream and it does take a bit of time to kind of go into your skin, but after this stage you then pop on your wraps on top. It keeps all the skin in contact with the cream for as long as possible. Once you put your cream on, you then put a zinc infused stocking or bandage on the top. I've been given stockings, which are basically just like big leg warmers. You put them on your arms and legs. They did say that I could potentially put this around the trunk of my body, but there is no way on earth that that would fit around my body, so maybe moving on to a kind of bandage more than a stocking would be a bit more helpful in that sense, but I'll go on to issues like that in a second. So yeah, you just take it out of the packet, unroll the stocking, separate the top of it, start putting your chosen body part through and put your affected area into the stocking. This isn't for everybody. I know a lot of people would find this quite uncomfortable, but it is something that has worked really well for me. To know that it's working is well worth the discomfort for me, definitely. So you pop them on, you put some kind of larger, baggier clothes over the top. Try and use clothes that you don't like, kind of older pyjamas or kind of big jumpers that you don't really wear a lot, because they will get damaged slightly. But you pop them on, head to bed, and the next morning you take them off. Overall, it's a very simple process, but it is lengthy, which is the problem. I've kind of broke it down now. I'm able to do the routine in maybe about 15 minutes, but that is me kind of rushing it, and you don't want to rush these things because you want to make sure that you do them properly. And when you take them off, it leaves a really kind of, it is quite strange, but also a very nice feeling. It leaves a kind of white film over the top of your skin. It kind of fills your pores up with kind of like, obviously the zinc formula from the bandages, and it keeps you moisturised for the whole day. I've had times at work where I work quite long hours. Sometimes I can work maybe like 10-11 hour days, and I get maybe halfway through the day and my body is crying out to be moisturised. It really needs some moisture, and it gets a bit stingy and it gets a bit sore. But when I've kept the residue of the wraps on my body, it's been happy all day. I've not had a single bit of discomfort, of dryness, of soreness when I have that kind of layer on top of my skin. So it has helped me throughout the day as well. You might just think that this is something that helps you overnight, but really the benefits of it carry on throughout the day as well. So it's looking after your skin literally all the time, which someone with eczema really needs. So overall, very positive. I am going to continue to use them, which is great, but there have been some difficulties that I've faced whilst doing this kind of experiment. The first one is they're very messy. They get everywhere, and as I said before, they ruin clothes. I have to change my pyjamas every night, but if you keep pyjamas on for more than one night, obviously everybody's different, do what they want, but it did kind of soak through the pyjamas and make them wet. Not wet, but like you could tell they had a kind of dampness from them, which was from the zinc bandages. My second thing is, although the routine only takes about 20 minutes and you do it at night time and that kind of shields you for the rest of the day, it does affect your life in other areas. For example, having to change up your pyjamas all the time, having to change your bedding very frequently as well, because obviously it gets onto your bedding as well. So the time that you're saving in terms of putting cream on multiple times a day is then getting added back on for the amount of excess things you're going to have to do, i.e. wash more clothes, wash your bedding a lot more frequently than what you potentially would. So you're not gaining any kind of extra time here, because it is kind of flooding into other areas, as in like cleaning up after it. My third thing is that even though the bandages leave the kind of film on top of your skin, it's really difficult to get it off. I don't know why you'd be trying to get rid of it. I tried to take it off the first night. I was like, need to get rid of this to put a new layer on, sort of thing. I scrubbed and scrubbed and I couldn't get it off my skin. It was fully glued on there, it was stuck on tight and it didn't want to let go. I did try and get rid of it and I really scrubbed, and it did give me kind of a little bit of a burn and a rash. So just accept that it has to stay on and that's it. So do not try and remove it, it will come off itself eventually. The period of time where I didn't do the wrap for 3 days, it did wear off eventually. Kind of the second day into the third day, I couldn't really like visually see it on my skin anymore. So it will eventually come off, but do not try and forcefully get rid of it, because you will end up damaging your skin and making it a bit worse. Negative number 4 is that it is extremely wasteful. I use 4 zinc stockings a night, so that's 2 on my legs and 2 on my arms, and once you've used them, they can't really be reused, so you just have to dispose of them. Now, 4 bandages every night for 4 weeks is roughly about 112 bandages. That's a lot of waste. That's an awful lot of waste of something that cannot be used again or cannot be recycled, and it's a kind of single-use item, which is a bit annoying. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I would love to be able to find a way to obviously maybe do something similar to this, but in a much sustainable manner. Although they are helpful, I do kind of have in the back of my mind that this isn't a sustainable way to look after myself. Although those are kind of negative factors which obviously I've had to incorporate into my life, and I'm totally okay with doing them, it's fine. I really don't mind. There are some great positives to doing something like a skin wrap. My first positive is that it looks after your skin all day. You can apply creams on top of the kind of layer of zinc that it leaves throughout the day, but I personally felt like I didn't really need to. I never felt the urge, my body didn't tell me that it needed more cream. So in terms of that, it looks after your body for such a long period of time that you don't have to kind of add extras or do more things, so you are kind of saving in terms of using less products throughout the day. My second positive is that it's put me into a bit of a more of a routine. Obviously it's nothing really skin related, but I do take that time at night to put those products on, and ultimately it kind of sets me up and kind of encourages my bedtime routines. I kind of try, and after I've put my creams and everything on and put the wraps on, not to touch my phone. So it has really slotted in and improved my kind of nighttime routine, I guess. That's such a hippie thing to say, but self-care is so important, especially in the current climate with lockdowns and all sorts and things. So just look after yourself and make sure that you're alright, and by kind of having that as a signal to me, like, right, after this, no more phone, let's get ready to go to bed. It has improved my sleeping pattern. I'm getting up a little bit earlier and things like that because I've kind of put those kind of rules in. It's nothing particularly to do with the creams and what it's doing to my skin, but it has affected my lifestyle in quite a nice way. Positive number 2 is that I am taking so much less cream out and about with me. Normally I would need to carry like one of these in my bag, and you can't go out with a wee handbag with a massive cream like this, so it has kind of helped in terms of having to take less things out with me. I felt like I was carrying my own kind of first aid box everywhere I went because my skin was so demanding. My third positive is that I feel a lot more confident. I really worried about my skin over the summer. Luckily we were in a kind of lockdown where we couldn't see anybody anyway, so I could hide it away, but I really struggled confidence wise. From this situation I feel so much more confident. Unfortunately we're going into kind of autumn and winter where you're kind of wearing long sleeves and pulling necks and kind of layering up and getting warm and things, but hopefully I can hold on to this kind of quality of skin that I've got just now, and maybe in the summer I might be able to actually dress more appropriately. It's definitely been a big confidence boost for me, which I think a lot of my family and my socially distant friends have noticed also. My fourth positive I think as well is that I have so much less stress. I feel as if my eczema was potentially brought on and triggered by stress. I don't know a single person that was not a little bit stressed during lockdown, so I think that was maybe how my body just reacted and thought, oh my god, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Overall I'm thrilled. I'm really happy with the results. A lot's kind of happened over the last 4 weeks as well in terms of like my life as well, so as well as doing the skin wraps and stuff, I've slowly been getting work back. I've had quite a difficult lockdown. I've had very little work, so slowly work's picking back up again, especially for someone who's self-employed too, so that's been a nice positive factor as well. So those things have kind of tied in together, kind of making my skin a lot better, but also kind of getting kind of daily life back, getting back to work and pointing cameras at people. If anybody wants me to make a video about my job, I'm a camera assistant for in the kind of TV industry. I make a lot of TV for BBC Scotland, BBC One. Literally something that I did last week was on the One show, which was really cool. So yeah, like that's my life, and if anybody wants me to kind of talk a little bit more about it, I'd love to. So yeah, but back to the kind of main point of the video, like I've got lots of positives and negatives about the skin wraps, but honestly looking at the results, I'll ping them up again from the befores and the afters. I look like two totally different people. My skin looks like someone totally different. It's smoother now, it's less red, it's less swollen, all because of this skin wrap process. So 110% recommend it. Anybody who's having a bit of bother with their skin, it doesn't need to be a large area as well. I'm just unfortunate that it was all over my legs and all over my arms. But if you have a little bit of something on your wrist or maybe something on your hands, something like this could be really helpful for you. So contact your GP, have a conversation with them about it, make them aware that you know a treatment like this exists, let them know that you've done your research and things, and they'll be kind of really helpful to try and collaborate with you and make sure that you can get better, and give those ideas a try. I really hope you have enjoyed my skin update. I just wanted to kind of lay it all out and let you know that those 4 weeks have passed and I've done really quite well. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and subscribe if you haven't already. But yes, I will be back next week with a brand new video. Don't know what that is yet, but I guess I'll figure it out. But I will see you then. Bye. Don't think I have mastered the kind of fringe styling yet. I think I'll get there eventually, but if anybody would like to help me with that, please do. You're probably sitting there like, look at her, look at the state that she's made of that hair. So please someone help me style it, because I'm struggling. So the dermatologist explained that she would like me to go for a patch test, and also that she would like me to do something else. I can't remember what it is. Should I have maybe done my before and afters later on? Oh, I've done it. Oh, this is a rubbish idea for a thumbnail. Oh, I don't work with children and animals, don't work with flipping Heather. Although it really only is kind of, there's a bird. There's a raven. The way of the warrior. Begin. Editing Heather, I've missed a bit. I need to talk about this bit first and then put the bit that I've just done after that. Okay, thanks. Thank you. And cut.